now on the CTV News at 5. Shock in the village of Glenwood after the body of a 16-year-old girl is discovered nearby. Plus, summer camps are in full swing. What about the measles outbreak? And we have the medal tally from the Southern Alberta Summer Games.
Telling your stories. CTV News Lethbridge with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Cardston RCMP are investigating a suspicious death after the body of a 16-year-old girl was found in an abandoned vehicle. The teen was discovered Friday about a kilometer west of Glenwood. The RCMP Major Crime Unit has been called in to investigate. The girl's body has been transported to the office of the Chief Medical Examiner pending an autopsy. No identity has been released. Anyone with information about the death is urged to contact either Cardston RCMP or Crime Stoppers. An update from City Police. 41-year-old Cody Pavel, who was previously wanted on a Canada-wide warrant, has been found and arrested. Police thank the public for their help. And WorkSafe BC has levied a $175,000 fine against the city of Cranbrook for a number of health and safety violations stemming from a monster truck show at Western Financial Place earlier this year. The city says it is appealing that penalty. WorkSafe BC alleges there was failure to test the racetrack dirt for contamination from hazardous substances. The company says gas detection monitors for carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and nitrogen dioxide were reading levels above the acceptable exposure limit. In response, the city says that arenas anywhere, quote, always experience high exhaust levels, unquote, when holding those types of events. The city also said the dirt used was clean fill taken from the 30th Avenue road construction project. The city says more information will be provided once the appeal process is finished. All right, Danielle Savoni, we are back in the heat this week, except for maybe Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday we're going to get a bit of a dip in temperature, a little break from the heat, but then it will return the next day. So right now, this is the ridge of high pressure. You can see that in the clouds and redirecting all that moisture up and around us. The heat's going to build over these next couple of days. And right now we're sitting at 25 degrees, mainly sunny at this point. So nice temperatures overall, not too hot, but we'll get hotter over the next couple. 25 again in Lethbridge, 26 in Milk River and Medicine Hat Brooks, all the way up to Drumheller, Pincher Creek, also at 26. We'll talk about that longer range forecast in just a bit, Jackie.
All right, thanks, Danielle. Schools are out and summer camps are popping up all over Lethbridge. Families are signing up their kids to give them some fun experiences over their break. Quinn Keenan has more.
The University of Lethbridge had been quiet since the winter semester ended, but that changed last week with the start of its annual summer day camps.
It's huge. Yeah, we are always really busy, and we are busy again. So we are about 98% full for our summer camps. There's a few spots left in random camps, but we're definitely hitting our marks for sure.
Lethbridge Polytechnic summer camps just opened this week. This year will feature new technology-based camps. A coding camp has been added this year after kids in last year's camps asked about one.
So some of the new camps that we're looking to add this summer are technology-focused camps that were really inspired by our campers and our families who are really passionate about exploring interest areas within technology. So we've actually added a coding camp, a game designer camp, as well as a STEM camp this upcoming summer.
It isn't just Lethbridge's post-secondaries running camps. The YMCA has its day camps in full swing. There's still spaces left for later in the summer, but they're filling up quick.
Demand is very high, but like this week, I was saying that we have 2 spots left for booking. So obviously we can't register anymore for this week, but for weeks in advance, we have just a little bit less than 200 spots available for the rest of the summer.
While the summer camps are fun, the threat of measles is looming. Since March, the South Zone has seen 753 cases of measles. None of the 3 day camp providers have changed their sanitation policy, but they are making sure to clean and sanitize often.
We take camper health and safety very seriously here at Lethbridge Polytechnic, and any time that families are sending us their campers, we really take that responsibility to heart. So when it comes to ensuring camper safety in heat waves or illness transmission, there are definitely steps that we already have in place to ensure that camper safety is, again, at the absolute top of our priority list.
A measles vaccination isn't required to attend camp at the YMCA or the post-secondary schools. Quinn Keenan, CTV News, Lethbridge.
The City of Lethbridge has launched a new survey aimed at better understanding the goals, challenges, and needs of local businesses. The survey will gather insights from business owners and managers about their experiences operating in Lethbridge and their outlooks for the future. The results will help inform the city's strategies and programs to better serve the business community. Businesses will be selected at random by phone or email over the next 2 weeks. Alberta and Ontario have signed agreements to work together to increase trade and develop energy projects. Premiers Danielle Smith and Doug Ford made the announcement this morning. The two leaders also agreed to keep the heat on Prime Minister Mark Carney's government to end barriers to energy development. They say those barriers include a tanker ban on the BC coast and caps on greenhouse gas emissions.
There'll be a moment where the rubber hits the road. Like, you can only talk the talk for so long before you start putting some real action around it.
Prime Minister Carney is no Justin Trudeau. He's a business mind. He's run massive multi-billion-dollar businesses, and he's bringing the business approach to the federal government that hasn't had that approach in the last 10 years.
A report from the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives says that trade barriers are actually minimal already, and rushing to remove regulations could have negative economic and environmental effects. An effort to officially relaunch the Progressive Conservative Party of Alberta has begun. Independent MLAs Peter Guthrie and Scott Sinclair were at the announcement Saturday. They say this party will be for people who can no longer support the UCP while giving the NDP a run for their money.
I think the biggest risk to an NDP victory is to not have choice, because Albertans will reject the UCP, at least in my opinion, for the same reason that they voted for change back in 2015. That's to get rid of that misconduct and entitlement. Albertans, they need a trusted, legitimate, conservative option on the ballot in that next election.
Both Guthrie and Sinclair say they will not elicit support from other UCP MLAs, saying they will need to decide for themselves what's right.
Danielle Smith has been the one who's been confusing Conservatives in this province. A lot of the reckless policies and separation and referendum, none of these are things that we ran on. And I think that's this confusion that she's talking about. Well, that's part of the reason we're standing here today, because I think a lot of Albertans have been wondering what happened to the party that they signed up for.
In order to register the party with Elections Alberta, they need to collect 8,900 signatures and hope to be able to do that by November 27th. The Alberta Prosperity Project, a nonprofit group promoting independence, announced Saturday it filed an application for a petition with Elections Alberta. This petition will ask whether Alberta should separate from Canada and become an independent country. Since it was filed after amendments to Bill 54, it will only need 177,000 signatures. It was also confirmed this petition can run alongside Thomas Lukaszik's petition to stop the separation effort. He filed before the bill was passed and will need to collect 600,000 signatures. We're getting a new snapshot of rising food costs, especially when it comes to putting meat on your table. A new global food index has been tracking climbing costs and the reasons why some staples are taking a bigger bite out of the budget. CTV's Kamal Karamali reports.
This Toronto butcher shop,
I'll send my friend,
bustling on this Sunday.
This is such a treat today.
A rare treat because meat for some has become a luxury.
Definitely meat is more.
Just listen to how much some of these meats,
something like oxtail,
have gone up in price.
Prices have practically tripled for myself.
The owner of this shop, Marlon Rosenbaum, feeling a bit raw about how much he's had to dish out for some cuts.
It's a tough time for small businesses. Everything costs more than it ever did before.
Meat, one of multiple items to see a price jump globally this month. The other items, vegetable oil and dairy. Meat now hitting an all-time high, up 2% since May, but rising more than 6% since last June. Vegetable oil also seeing a 2% increase since May, up 18% from last year. And although dairy only saw a 0.5% increase since May, it's jumped up 20% since this time last year.
We're seeing reduced production because there are fewer cows around. We've seen dry weather in North America in the last couple of years there's been less feed available.
Less feed available to raise cows not only puts the price of dairy on the rise, it means with a surging population, there's less to go around.
The world will be short 5 times Canada's national production by 2030. So that pressure will only increase.
But these global food prices don't always reflect Canadian food prices. Take vegetable oil, for example, surging in price globally, but in Canada, the cost has actually gone down.
We have excess supply of canola oil in this country, which is the predominant oil that we use.
All in all, people will still have to pay more for most foods.
So what gives you hope to keep going?
I think just trying to keep in mind that good quality meat is something that there will always be a demand for.
Hoping that for these customers, locally sourced meat will still be a cut above the rest. Kamal Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
We're going to hear more about this week's forecast with Danielle right after this break. Also, we have the lowdown on weighted vests when we return.
Okay, here's your Skywatch weather camera. Look at that blue sky. We have a ridge of high pressure that's building. So this is just getting started. The heat will continue to build over the next couple of days. It's going to get hot. Heat warnings in place for some communities. I'll show you that in just a second. Just 23 so far today in Calgary and in Edmonton. So nothing crazy with regards to the heat today, but we'll see that increase for the next couple. Off to the east, 29 in Toronto, 30 in Halifax. So those are some of the hot little pockets going on in the country right now. And just a closer look at what's going on here in the province as 26 Milk River up through Medicine Hat, 27 now in Brooks, 26 in Drumheller, 27 now in Pincher Creek, and again 25 in Lethbridge. So those mid to high 20s predominantly at this point, and we'll climb into the 30s, and the humidity will build a little bit as well as we go through tomorrow. Calgary is not under this heat warning, but basically to the east of Calgary and to the north of Lethbridge. So Vulcan, Champion, over through Brooks, down through Medicine Hat and Foremost, we're looking at a heat warning in place. It's not in place for today. This is in place because you need 2 days of certain heat for daytime highs and overnight lows. And it looks like we'll meet that criteria in those areas that I just showed you over these next couple of days. Other areas like Lethbridge, for example, won't meet the criteria, but it will still be very hot. Here's that ridge of high pressure that will build for the next couple. This is the trough, though, that will give us some active weather and some cooler temperatures for Thursday. But then this will quickly move out after Thursday, and another ridge will build in, and the temperatures will climb once again from that. So it's really a one-day cool down, which is a kind of nice reprieve with some rainfall as things get so hot and dry over the coming days. Here's the ridge of high pressure. You can see that in the cloud cover. You can see the moisture that's tracking along that because it's the jet stream on the edge of this ridge of high pressure. That's going to keep things stable here, and it's going to allow a lot of sunshine, and it's going to heat things up. All right, for tomorrow, or even just overnight, 14 in the East Kootenay area, 32 as a high for tomorrow. Feeling more like 34 with that humidity, a whole lot of sunshine. So stable weather in southern BC and in southern Alberta. Okay, 12 for overnight in Crozes Pass, a little windy, 40 kilometers per hour for the evening. Calming down overnight, then back to 50 for tomorrow, 31 as the high. Mainly sunny skies and a lot of sunshine in Medicine Hat as well. Looking at a high of 33. Shouldn't have to deal with as much humidity though in the Medicine Hat area for tomorrow. Okay, longer range forecast, 29 degrees for tomorrow. Then you're looking at 31 for Wednesday. A little windy at times, up to about 50 kilometers per hour. And tomorrow alone with the humidity in Lethbridge, it will feel more like 32. So be prepared for a very hot day for the next couple. And then cooler, 14 for Thursday with 5 to 10 millimeters of rain possible. And then we jump back to 27, so high 20s for Friday, and likely climbing to 30 by the time we get into the weekend with that next ridge and lots of sunshine.
27 more Albertans have confirmed cases of the measles. That brings the provincial total to over 1,200. The majority of the new cases are in the north zone. There were 8 cases reported in the south, where there is now a total of 753 since the outbreak began in March. Health officials continue to encourage Albertans to ensure they've received 2 doses of the MMR vaccine. The highly contagious virus can linger in the air for a couple of hours after an infected person has left the area. Now to try before you buy, weighted vests can make a big impact on your health and workout. Here's ABC's Becky Worley to tell us all about them.
So I finally got a weighted vest.
The hype is real. Weight vests are everywhere.
I have switched to a 30-pound vest.
They're even starting classes at gyms like Equinox to maximize the benefits.
Stay sassy with it. The benefits of working out with a weighted vest are quite vast, but primarily you get a bigger calorie burn, you increase your bone density health, and you even work on your core and posture all in the same time.
But buying a weight vest is not as simple as you'd think. What style fits my body best, and what weight should I get? Ooh, this one's heavy.
We tried 3 styles. The standard vest, this one by Reebok, costs less than $50.
This is a one-size vest, and while it's comfortable, it's not tight enough on me. I can't get it any tighter, and so all the weight is hanging off my shoulders.
The X-Style vest, this one by Empower, is touted as being better for busty women.
Doesn't smush your girls. Really comfortable.
And the Rucking Style vest, this one from Go Ruck, is the priciest that we tried.
This is the military style vest with plates inside it and hood. I'm definitely feeling a little smushed though.
Then there's the weight question.
If you've never used any weighted products before, we always say start with about 5% of your body weight. That's a good, safe place to start, and then build up from there.
And something else to consider, there are adjustable weight vests. So you can start with a lower weight and work your way up to, say, 20 pounds.
Now, if you have neck or back problems or arthritis, more weight may put strain on your joints. Also, if you're pregnant or you have weak bones or heart and lung conditions, you should probably talk to your doctor before using these vests.
Still ahead on the CTV News at 5. The Toronto Blue Jays just keep on winning. We have sports next. Sunday was a busy day in the WCBL with every team in action. Here's a look at how Southern Alberta teams fared. Sunday was a busy day, as we mentioned. The Lethbridge Bulls won a barn burner on the road, beating the Moose Jaw Warriors 15-14. The Medicine Hat Mavericks bats went cold as they fell to the Cactus Rats 7-1. Brooks Bombers had no answer for the Okotoks Dogs. They lose 13-3. Tonight, the Bulls and Bombers will meet at Spitz Stadium for a Southern Alberta showdown. First pitch is 7:05.
It's against Tyler Anderson. And Bichette hits a fly ball deep left field, and that is gone.
The red-hot Toronto Blue Jays have won 8 games in a row. That home run by Bo Bichette helped power the Jays to a 3-2 win over the Angels. That's 2 series sweeps in a row for the Jays, who are now 3 games up in the AL East. And Alejandro Kirk has just been named to his second All-Star game. He will join Vladdy as the 2 Jays All-Stars. The Jays start a 3-game series against the White Sox tonight. More than 1,000 medals were awarded at this year's Southern Alberta Summer Games in Taber Saturday. Athletes of varying ages competed in a variety of sports over 4 days, representing communities from across Southern Alberta. The host, MD of Taber, stood atop of the podium with 251 medals, including 110 gold. Athletes from Lethbridge won the most gold medals at 124, bringing the city's total medal count to 244. The 2026 Summer Games will take place in the county of 40 Mile. The chainsaws were revving in New Brunswick over the weekend at a major lumberjack competition. As CTV's Nick Moore reports, it kicked off a summer circuit of timber sports events across the region.
The New Brunswick Lumberjack competition had chainsaws buzzing, axes flying, and athletes trying their best to keep their balance, all on the grounds of the Central New Brunswick Woodsman's Museum in Boys Town.
It's a pile of fun to watch. It's a pile of fun to do it, actually.
Rod Cumberland was one of 26 competitors at Saturday's event. He's also president of the Maritime Lumberjack Association and has championed logging sports ever since competing 40 years ago.
Takes a lot of skill, a lot of endurance, a lot of strength. So, I mean, it's got a lot of everything.
A favorite event of the competition was the kettle boil, a race to build a fire for heating up a can of water. The final event was the boom run, where competitors made an attempt to run across a chain of logs floating in the museum's pond. Some made it, others. This was the first lumberjack competition of the summer for the Maritime Lumberjack Association.
You go to the different events, you get points at every event, and the person with the most points at the end of the year wins.
The annual competition here is a volunteer-driven event at the museum.
We've been kind of lucky this year because the last
4, maybe 5 years, it's been raining every single time. So we kind of lucked out today.
The next Lumberjack competition in our region is July 26 in Crapo, Prince Edward Island. Nick Moore, CTV News, Boys Town, New Brunswick.
Is music created by artificial intelligence going to become the new norm? The story of a mysterious band raising a lot of questions when we come back. A mysterious band has reignited the debate over AI-generated music. It comes after a group called the Velvet Showdown racked up hundreds of thousands of listeners on Spotify, only to be exposed as being almost certainly AI created. John Valley Rao reports.
AI is officially getting scary.
On TikTok, there's been plenty of buzz.
This is Velvet Sundown.
About the band, which is adding hundreds of thousands of listeners daily on Spotify.
Dust on the wind, boots on the ground.
Checking out what's almost certainly songs generated, released by a supposed group called the Velvet Sundown, which very little is known about. And even if it's AI, many we played the music for were impressed.
I would say definitely if you put it on the radio, it would chart.
If you just told me and you didn't tell me that was AI, I probably wouldn't have known.
There are what appear to be AI-generated pictures of the group.
Are you sure we're not real?
Which has put out 2 albums and first flagged as suspicious by users on Reddit.
I think it's pretty good. I think it's no better or no worse than probably thousands of songs that come my way.
The attention it's getting intensifying the debate over whether AI music should be clearly labeled as such, something Spotify and many other streamers don't do.
It's basically the Wild West across Spotify because you can post content and you're not required to let anyone know that it is in fact AI generated.
Music streaming service Deezer uses a tool to detect AI songs. As of April, it said 18% of all music uploaded, that's 20,000 songs a day, are entirely AI generated. That company recently started flagging AI music to its listeners. The CEO writing, AI is not inherently good or bad, but we believe a responsible and transparent approach is key to building trust with our users and the music industry. Do you think they should label this stuff as AI?
I definitely think they should label it. I feel like some people just don't want to listen to AI content or see that.
But some aren't all that fussed about labeling.
I would listen to it anyway, even if it's AI, because good music's good music.
And no matter your views, it is another noteworthy AI moment. John Valley Rao, CTV News, Toronto. Thank you for sharing this time with us. Now here's the early edition of the CTV National News.